Are you having pain every time you stand up from a seated position? We have a 3-step fix that you need so you can get rid of that pain. If you clicked on this video, it's because you need a fix to get out of a seated position and go to a standing position. So it's unnecessary that you feel that pain, and there's a system of problems that are happening around the pelvis, around the hips, and your low back. And we're gonna make sure that we give you that process, exactly what you need to do. It's gonna be super simple in 3 steps. Let's get right into it. The big focus with this is that we have an imbalance in the muscles around our spine. So we're gonna talk about those. So the first one right here is our psoas major. And when you look at this is the front of the spine, their guts are cut away. And so when this muscle, it's called our psoas major, it's our biggest hip flexor in the body. When it's tight, it pulls our back into extension. And when we zoom in right here, you can see the nerves. When I go into extension, it closes down the space for those nerves. Now, on the back side, our hip flexors are tight, right? Closing down that space. On the back side is our glutes. These muscles compete with each other to create stability. So we gotta make sure that we're working on the hip flexors. We gotta loosen up the glutes, and then we need to use the glutes. That's our 3 steps. So we're gonna jump right into it. This is step number 1. We need a stick of some sort. You can use a rolling pin in the kitchen. You can use one of these massage rollers, something. But what we're gonna do, I want you to see the actual muscles beforehand. We're gonna put pressure right here, and we're gonna loosen up this muscle right here inside the body. And so I'm digging out this hip flexor. And why this is important is because when our hip flexors are tight, it's pulling that back into extension. So we always have to work on the front side of what muscles are impeding or restricting the back side of the muscles. The back of the body gets underused. The front side of the body is overstimulated. So we're gonna loosen this up. So what I'm gonna do is get up against the wall. And so preferably up against the door. I've had clients that have put holes in the walls. You don't need to be that aggressive. What I'm gonna do is go right here. So that ilium right here, when we look at this, this is our pelvis bone right here. So we're gonna come right inside that pelvis bone, and think of it about like a bowl when you're eating ice cream. We're scraping the edge of that bowl, get that last bit of ice cream. I love ice cream. So I'm always scraping the edges of the bowl to get that last little bit. So think about that. We're loosening that up, getting those edges of that bowl. And so when I do it, I'm gonna get up against the wall. I'm gonna feel this bone right here. And then I'm gonna come right inside of it, and I'm gonna loosen that up. Now, if I put all my pressure through my right leg right now, then that muscle is gonna engage and it's gonna push away from the wall. Even though it's a hip flexor, the muscle will have engagement while I'm standing. And also my abdomen, I have to relax all those muscles. So what I do is I unweight this right leg. I put all my weight on my left leg. My right leg's used for a little bit of balance. And then I'm loosening that up, and now I can just glide into that. So I'm just pushing up and down, loosening that up. This should be a little bit tender. We wanna go into that tenderness and loosen up that muscle. And I wanna do it for about a minute, just loosening it up. You should feel discomfort in this muscle when you're doing it, because that's what's gonna make sure that we're loosening up that muscle tissue and we need give in the muscle. We need to glide into it, beat it up a little bit. We wanna stay between a 3 and a 5. We want it to be uncomfortable, but not unbearable, because we need to do this on a consistent basis. This muscle is getting stimulated when we're sitting for long periods of time, we're laying down collagen, and we're getting stiff in this area. We gotta make sure that we're consistently loosening up that stiffness, and then we're gonna use the muscles on the back side. So I'm loosening that up. I do it for a minute, and I gotta do it on both sides. So I'm gonna set up and do it on the other side, unweight that left leg, and I'm digging into this muscle. I do it for a minute on each side, and that's step number 1. Step number 2, we're gonna take a lacrosse ball and we're gonna loosen up the muscle tissue in the glute. We have an overlap. There's one of the muscles that's not connected right here. We can't see it. It's our glute max, and it comes across like this, and it pulls our leg out to the side, right? It also does extension. It has a lot of actions, but it wraps around here. This is our gluteus medius, and this is the minimus. Right here on the side, we're gonna get a lacrosse ball into it, and it's what we've found that is most effective with our clients. We deal with this consistently on a daily basis here at the clinic, and we know exactly how to fix it. That's why we're confident that you're gonna be able to do this on your own at home and you're gonna get great results with it. So we have to be able to get into the side of the glute, and I'm gonna show you exactly how to do that. Now, before we go into that, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of our videos. The things that we're posting online is making sure that you're getting solutions from your own home and that you're getting real results. And also leave us comments. Let us know exactly what you need and we'll make sure we get those videos out. Positioning with step number 2 of rolling out the glutes, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go completely sideways, perpendicular with the wall. I'm gonna put this ball right here. For a guy, belt loops are different for males and females. But for a guy right here, right at the belt loop. So here's my ilium right here. That's the top of the pelvis. This is the top of my pelvis. This is my hip bone right here. I'm gonna cut it in half, which ends up being my belt loop. And then I'm gonna come back about 30 degrees, about an inch, let's say. So I'm gonna put it right here. So I'm gonna come straight to the side. I don't want to twist up in my back too much. So I go straight to the side and I'm going to rotate about 30 degrees on the wall. Now again, I'm a little bit too high while I'm doing this. So what I'm going to do is slide it down a little bit and drop my weight into the wall. I'm a little bit too close to the wall. So these are adjustments that you need to make as well. I'm going to scoot back so you can see my feet a little bit better. So now I'm here, I'm leaned into the wall, and I'm dropping my weight down into it, and I'm gonna unweight this leg, but I don't wanna hold it up. We just spent time in step number 1, loosening up those hip flexors. If I'm holding my leg up like this, I'm activating those hip flexors, and that would be counterproductive. So I want my hip flexor to relax by resting my leg down. I just don't wanna put weight through it, and I don't wanna engage those muscles. And you can see, we'll zoom in right here, and you can see when I put weight down into this leg, I move away from the wall. Pushing weight down into the leg, and I move away from the wall. That's not productive. We want this to be a tender spot, unweight the leg, but rest that leg down on the ground, and I'm loosening that up. Another thing that I want you to focus on is not wiggling through the back. If I wiggle like this through my back, I'm really not getting much out of it, and I'm making my back get a little bit irritated. That's one of the things we want to fix, so we want to make sure we're not wiggling through the back. This would be the worst type of wiggling through the back. So what I do is I just rest into it, find that tender spot, and I want you to stay for 30 seconds in one tender spot right here, and then I want you to just glide and rotate to the side a little bit, and now I found another tender spot. Just relaxing into it for about 30 seconds. And then I'm done. And then now if you get to a point, you're doing this consistently, we wanna do it twice a day, and I want you to give it a week to see really great results. You'll start feeling better immediately, but doing it consistently twice a day for a week, you're gonna see crazy results. You'll be very surprised at how effective it is. So let's make sure we're consistent with it. But you're gonna find different areas in the same vicinity, but different areas that stay tender. So we have a big macro problem. We have a lot of tight muscle tissue, and we're gonna be loosening up that tissue, and it becomes little micro problems. So there's gonna be spots that you wanna attack, and your gauge is knowing that, hey, this spot's tender, so it's an area I need to work on. As long as we're staying away from the sciatic nerve, which is all the way over here on my back. So that's why we're so far, we're off to the side. We're staying away from that sciatic nerve. Then we know all the tender spots right here that we're working on are productive. They're gonna loosen that up so that sciatic nerve can glide better. So I'm loosening that up. Same thing, I'm gonna find one spot for 30 seconds. I'm gonna find a second spot for 30 seconds, and then I'm gonna relax and I'm gonna switch sides. So now, same thing, I'm going sideways in between the two bones. And then I'm gonna rotate, I'm gonna drop my weight down. I'm gonna rotate to the side about 30 degrees. And then I unweight this leg, but let it set on the ground. And I'm gonna find a tender spot. That one's not very tender for me. So now I just move just a little bit, and now I'm just gonna relax. If you feel like it's not that tender after about a week, then we can wiggle this leg, and that'll make it a little bit more tender. We're trying to get really deep into that muscle tissue. So I'm gonna do 1 minute on each side. I'm just gonna set up one more time, straight to the side, rotate about 30 degrees, and I'm gonna get into that tender spot, When it stops bothering me about a week, it's gonna be harder to find those tender spots because we're actually loosening up tissue and getting it to rebuild to be healthier. And then I just wiggle this leg. And then now it's rested down, but I'm wiggling it and it's able to get deeper into that tissue. So I'm relaxed, but also wiggling it at the same time. So 1 minute on each side, that's step number 2. Let's get into step number 3. Step number 3 is activating the glutes. And this is very, very specific on how we do it. We're gonna keep our face in line with our chest. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find a wall. We call it, I have a client years ago that called them butt walls. And it's like, so he's searching for the wall, but he's doing it with his butt bones right here. And so we call it a hip hinge squat. So we're teaching ourselves and we're reteaching ourselves to use our hips primarily with our movement patterns. When I want to grab something from the ground and my back's bothering me, then I keep my back in neutral and I do this, right? But then that starts to beat up on my knees. If my knees are bothering me, then I bend through the back. Both of those things are counterproductive for us. What we want to do is retrain our body and our brain to move through our hips primarily. So if I'm grabbing something from the ground, I want to reach back with my butt. Now I touch the wall, I can't grab it, so I need a little bit more distance, and now I can grab something from the ground. But my back stayed in a neutral position. I used my hips primarily, but my knees were bending as well. So it does become a little bit of a complex movement, but we want to break it down and make it easy. If you need more details on that, we can do a whole video breaking down this movement pattern. It is one of the most important things that you do if you want to fix your back long-term, especially if you're sitting for long periods of time and every time you get up, you got this searing pain and tightness in your low back. We got to fix that. When you have inflammation and you have irritation that's happening on a daily basis, we have all these molecules that come down to eat up bad tissue. That's good, we need that. But when it's chronic and it happens every day, that those molecules that come down and eat up bad tissue, they'll also start to eat up good tissue. And that's where we get degenerative disc disease, stenosis, bone spurs. All that is a byproduct of us keeping that or ignoring that sensation of irritation and stiffness. So we want to get on this as quickly as possible, and we want to fix it so that we can preserve our spine. Our spine is a fantastic design, not by us. We want to limit the amount of humans that touch your back, get into your body, and start doing surgeries. When we limit that, when we preserve the back, that's where you're going to have the best life. If you've already had surgery, this still works. It's the right thing to do because we're limiting the motion that happens through the lower back. But let's always look to try to avoid surgery. So when we're looking at the hip hinge squat, what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure my foot away from the wall, and then I'm going to step to the side and come forward. I'm gonna treat my lower leg like a stake being driven into the ground. It's coming straight down, so you can see it with this. So this lower leg is like a stake being driven into the ground. It's gonna stay vertical, and I push my butt back, I come back up, push my butt back, come back up. Leave me a comment in the comment section. Let me know if that was actually helpful to see, because that's something that our clients deal with. They really struggle with is that keeping that lower leg vertical. And it's like, because our body has been moving through these patterns and we are a compensation machine. Our brains are always looking, how do we get the movement done? So I'm right here. My lower leg's a stake being driven in the ground. My face stays in line with my chest. So if my chest is facing forward, my eyes are facing where my chest is. So as soon as my chest goes down like this, my eyes are in line with it, and I'm reaching back with my butt bones. My butt bones are touching the wall, and then my butt bones come forward. So I'm allowing my chest to come down with my face, reaching back with my butt, reaching forward with my butt. So I like to think about like one of my kids. I got an 8-year-old, and then I'm squashing his head against the wall. I'm just squashing. Hopefully it doesn't explode, but I'm squashing. I'm just pushing him against the wall, and then he musters up the strength. He does this, musters up the strength, and pushes me back up right from here at my butt bone. So I'm visualizing that. I'm visualizing that my butt bone has eyes on it, and I'm looking at the wall, and then my kid is mustering up the strength to push me forward through my hips right there, and that lifts me up when I keep my back in a neutral position. We're gonna do this 2 sets of 15. So we're retraining our brain. It takes 300 to 360 repetitions to retrain a movement pattern. So we gotta be consistent with that. And that's why I was saying, give it a week, like you're gonna feel better immediately, but also give it that week, you're gonna reinforce this good movement pattern. We're loosening up the right tissue. And then at 2 weeks, that's where magic happens, where you're like, I cannot believe that my back feels this good. And it's like, and it's super, super simple when we're doing it the right way. So I'm coming face in line with the chest, lower leg stays vertical, reaching back with my butt bones. As soon as I touch the wall, I come forward with my butt and I go backward and forward, and I'm training this movement pattern. If you're having trouble because you're extending through your back immediately, what I want you to do is grab onto your belly. This is what I do. I dig my nails into my belly right here and I come back. If I extend like this, now it starts to hurt, right? So I grab right here, make sure that doesn't hurt, push back with my butt, push forward with my butt, backward, forward. So it's a hip hinge squat. And so we're thinking about it is that I'm doing a squat, but I'm doing a hip hinge squat. It's not a downward and upward motion like what we normally do. This downward and upward puts a lot of pressure on my knees, and it puts a lot of pressure on my lower back, and it limits the stress on my glutes. What I want to do is go a backward motion and a forward motion. Backward, forward, backward, forward. So with that, we do 2 sets of 15. Make sure we do it consistently, and leave us a comment. Let us know where our holes are so that we can help you fix it. Make sure you hit the subscribe and like button. We'll get this content out to you. This works. It's in the clinic. We're testing it every single day. We're working with clients and we're fixing back pain. We had a 92% success rate in 23. We had a 94% success rate last year. This is real information that works with our clients, and it's going to work for you too. We'll see you in the next video.